of global business, where most leaders chase quarterly profits, one man dared to play a different game. His name is Marcus Wallenberg Jr., and he wasn't just a businessman. He was a strategic architect who transformed companies like chess pieces, seeing moves decades ahead of his contemporaries. Imagine a leader who could turn struggling firms into global powerhouses. He understood that true success isn't about money, but about relentless innovation and unwavering relationships, and a vision that stretches far beyond the next financial report. Today, you're going to be learning about 10 revolutionary and timeless strategies from Marcus Wallenberg Jr. This is not his life story, not a biography, but the strategies. We're going to have a deep dive on his strategies that he used to excel in business, in life, and more importantly, how he became one of the masters of the universe. So first, let's start off with the first. The first principle is active ownership philosophy. So Mr. Wallenberg Jr., the lesson is ownership without presence rots. And every time I go through a lesson, I want you to think about, how does this apply to you? How does this apply to your business, to your venture, to your culture, your organization? And there's always one that's going to resonate with you. Apply that relentlessly, and you might have to go back and listen to this over and over again, because these principles, these lessons are timeless. And after studying great organizations, great leaders, you will see a pattern, as I see the pattern. All right, so first lesson, ownership without presence rots. Maintain direct involvement in companies you own. Avoid passive investment. Influence operations and strategy. Wallenberg transformed Stockholm's and scaled the bank by introducing daily morning prayers, mandatory meetings to review operations risk and opportunities. He personally visited branch offices, analyzed loan portfolios, and pushed managers to adopt punch card machines, doubling productivity with minimal staff growth. So the main takeaway is embed yourself in operations to drive accountability and innovation. It's very important to keep your people accountable, to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. And if you have, how Wallenberg did it was morning prayers, mandatory meetings. Some people are anti-meeting, some people are pro-meeting. Do what is close to your nature, what is aligned with your nature. And there's no wrong or right way. It's just a matter of, is this aligned with who I am and the culture that I want to build? So have direct involvement in companies you own, and that will help you influence operations and strategy, and make sure that you keep your people accountable. The second lesson is technological obsession. So economic means making use of technology. So what's the strategy here? Prioritize technological adoption to future-proof businesses. So when did Wallenberg apply this? Well, when leading Atlas Diesel, Wallenberg pivoted the company from outdated diesel engines to air compressors and industrial tools. He invested in R&D for pneumatic technology, positioning Atlas as a global leader in mining and construction equipment. The main lesson here is that you have to continuously audit your tech stack and reinvest in emerging tools. Especially now with AI, there's always new tools, new software, new technology that's going to help you boost productivity, help you get an edge. And if you use R&D, if you leverage tech stack, if you reinvest in emerging tools, then you are going to dominate the market. And if your business is not using this technology, then you're going to be left behind. The world is moving at a very rapid pace. You gotta have somebody on your team to be able to understand what's going on, the development of technology. You have to have somebody in your team who's doing research. You have to have somebody on your team that's continuously learning and observing what's going on in the market when it comes to tools, tech stack, and be obsessed with technology and applying that for your business. And he was obsessed with tech. Just like the first lesson, he pushed the managers to adopt to punch card machines, and that doubled the productivity with minimal staff growth. There's always going to be tech like that that's coming out that's going to be doubling the productivity. And once agents become dependable and self-sufficient, then imagine what it's going to do for your business. So figure out how and stay on the pulse. Keep your finger on the pulse when it comes to the tech stack. All right. The third lesson is long-term horizon with liquidity. Wait out storms. Liquidity buys time. So what's the strategy here? Prioritize cash reserves over short-term gains to survive downturns and seize opportunities. During the 1930s financial crisis, the Wallenberg avoided selling asset. Instead, they acquired struggling firms like Scania Vabis at a discounted price. I don't even know if I pronounced that correctly. Restructuring them into profitable ventures over decades. Build a war. The lesson here and the takeaway is build a war chest to capitalize on crisis. Hetty Green did this. When the market is crashing, you can buy great assets, great companies at a discounted price. Have a war chest, because these are going to be opportunities. If you can get great assets at a discounted price, what is that going to do for your business? What is that going to do for your growing your market share? And opportunities like that don't come very often. But when they do, you have to be prepared. And how do you prepare yourself? Liquidity. Liquidity, liquidity, liquidity. Seize the opportunity, survive downturns, and have cash reserves. Okay. Now, number 4, talent-driven leadership. Surround yourself with exceptional people. Hire for intellectual horsepower and drive, not just experience. Wallenberg handpicked Kurt Eck Jansson, a young engineer, to lead LM Ericsson's expansion into telecommunication. Jansson's team developed the first automatic telephone exchanging, securing Ericsson's dominance in Europe. The lesson is create a talent pipeline and empower high potential employees. People run the business. If you have an excellent team, what do you think they're going to produce when it comes to the result of the business? Jim from Renaissance Technologies, he recruited great people, talented people, smart people, people that are hungry. And he got out of the way and let them do what they need to do. So surround yourself with exceptional people. Have exceptional people on your team. What is your method of attracting exceptional people? That's one hurdle that you have to go over. And then the next hurdle is, what are you doing to, or how are you structuring the company to keep those people? Recruiting people is one thing, but keeping them is another thing. So surround yourself with exceptional people. And he didn't just hire for experience. He hired for intellectual horsepower and drive. And drive is priceless. Ambition is priceless. Next, restructuring for relevance. Combine, adapt, or discard. So continuously restructure business to align with market shifts. When a Wallenberg-owned manufacturer faced obsolescence, Wallenberg merged it with AB Delencia, shifting focus to air-operated tools. This created synergies and opened new industrial markets. Regularly audit your portfolio for reinvention of opportunities. Jensen, the CEO of NVIDIA, he saw the boom in AI and he pivoted his company. There's going to be times where you need to pivot your company. You need to reevaluate your portfolio. You need to make an audit of what's going on in the market. And you must be adaptable. Be nimble, and create an organization where you're going to be nimble, adaptable, and more importantly, align your business with the market shifts. All right. Next, this one is very important. Relationship capital. His father emphasized and talked about the importance of relationship to him, and this is one of the lessons that he continuously applied in his life. Relationship capital. Lasting relationships require attention and gratitude. Cultivate personal connection with stakeholders and the right type of people. During World War II, Wallenberg leveraged relationship with Allied and Axis leaders to negotiate Sweden's trade agreements, protecting family assets like Plantagenenschaft Clementina from confiscation. Invest in face-to-face diplomacy with partners and regulators. Build relationship with the right people. Put yourself in the right room. Have a strategy for that. One of the strategies, I did a video of Ari Onassis. One way he built relationship with key individuals, key business people, regulators, people with power and influence, was to host a yacht party. And that strategy was able to get him in front and build relationship with people. Now, what's your strategy? What's your strategy with getting inside the room? The right room. What's your strategy with getting connected with the right people? What's your strategy with connecting with partners, regulators, influential people? And relationship capital is important. And here's one caveat. It requires attention. And you gotta be grateful for that relationship. Next, conservative financial discipline. Never depend on external capital. He avoided that. Fund growth through retained earnings. The Wallenberg survived the Ivar Kruger collapse because they maintained higher liquidity than competitors. They acquired Kruger's asset at fire sale prices without taking on unsustainable debt. limit leverage to retain control during downturns. See, this is before he was, I mentioned that Wallenberg, he has a war chest. And another, right now, he's talking about never depend on external capital, and you must have conservative financial discipline. They avoid that. And more importantly, when there's a crash, he was able to get assets at a fire sale prices. And those strategies are what's going to help you prepare and dominate the market. The market is always cyclical. Up, down, boom, bust. There's times are good, then there's going to be a crash, right? So if you prepare and position yourself to take advantage of those fire sale discounts, fire sale prices, then you can have great companies at a discounted rate. You could be their superhero. All right, next, competitive drive and public accountability. Public criticism sharpens performance. Foster a culture of urgency through transparency. Wallenberg openly criticized underperforming executives during board meetings. He replaced complacent managers with younger leaders, accelerating the company's shift to electrical engineering. Used constructive pressure to eliminate complacency. When a leader is now being seen by other leaders, by publicly, how do you think they're going to perform? Now that all the eyeballs are on them. Public criticism sharpens performance. So, how are you? Some people are against this. Some people are not. But try it out in your organization. If you're not already doing this, try it out. Have public criticism. And tell people, all right, you want people to share what they're going to do. And that gives them public accountability. And this is going to have a pressure. And here's the thing. When the managers don't perform, they get replaced. We want to drive results. That manager might not be the right person for that position. So, the manager will get replaced by a young leader or somebody that is going to show that they're competent and that they can do the job. Next, global diversification. Expand borders, not just the balance sheets. Enter markets early to establish dominance. Wallenberg acquired Mexican Telephone and Telegraph Co. in 1940s, recognizing Latin America's growth potential. This later provided cash flow to fund European expansions. Allocate resources to undervalued geographies. Where can you find undervalued geographies, undervalued companies? Global diversification. Now with the power of internet, it's easy to expand borders. It's easy. I wouldn't say it's easier, but we have now come across a time where communicating to people in different countries is fast. And Wallenberg saw the opportunity in Latin America's growth, and he invested in there. Allocate resource to undervalued geographies. It could be undervalued customers. It could be undervalued service products. Find your edge. Expand. Grow. In this case, Wallenberg saw the expansion to different geographies. For some, it could be expansion to different people, different avatar. Use global diversification to leverage or use global diversification to enter into new markets. Next, multi-generational mentorship. So their whole family was in the business, the banking business, and multi-generational mentorship trains successors early. Dynasties demand continuity. Institutionalized knowledge transfer. Despite his son Mark, his son committed suicide, and they said it was linked to Wallenberg's harsh mentorship. He continued grooming Peter Wallenberg Sr. and others. He created a Wallenberg school with rotations across family business to instill operational rigor. Build a system to perpetuate institutional knowledge. So, Jeff Bezos mentioned this. Help leaders, groom leaders. And this is why he did. If you look at organizations, great organizations, look at how they groom other leaders. What do they do? What kind of training, education, support do they have to be able to groom a person into that role, into that position, into the next great executive? And what is your organization doing to create something like that? This is very important because dynasties demand continuity. I'm going to say that again. Dynasties demand continuity. And just a quick overview of Wallenberg Jr.'s strategies, playbook. He actively owns. He doesn't passively invest. He focuses a lot on innovation. Technology is non-negotiable. He thinks in long terms. He has a far horizon when it comes to his vision. He thinks in decades, not quarters. And he focuses a lot on talent because talent drives transformation. Remember, it's people over profit and loss. People over P&L. And the most important one is relationships are strategic assets. I hope you learned something in this podcast, in this video. There's a lot of great lessons, a lot of timeless principles and strategy, and apply it to your business, apply to your venture, and you will see drastic change, and you will also see great results. With that being said, if you found value in this, I want you to comment, say something, and share. Mr. Wallenberg Jr. is a master of the universe. With that being said, stay tuned for my next episode. Peace out.